Hello all, welcome to the lecture again, part 2 of the thermophysical properties of frozen foods, changes in thermophysical properties during freezing. So in previous section we discussed about introduction, the importance of these thermophysical properties, and we have also discussed variations in specific heat during freezing of food materials, changes in enthalpy of food materials. So in this lecture we will see thermal conductivity, thermal diffusivity and density, how they are going to change during freezing of. So we know thermal conductivity is the ability of a material to conduct heat. If you look at the Fourier law of conduction, so the proportionality constant K was introduced, which represents the ability of a material to conduct heat, right? So the conductivity of water containing food is again dominated by the contribution of water and ice, because these have higher thermal conductivities than the food matrix. That means the other components, if you look at in food materials such as proteins, fats, carbs, so these are having very less thermal conductivity compared to water and ice is having more thermal conductivity than water, because water is in liquid state and ice is in solid state. So solid state is more preferable to conduct the heat. So if you look at the thermal conductivities of other components such as protein, fats and carbohydrates, they are around 0.17 to 0.20. So when compared with water and ice, they are significantly smaller. So to estimate the values of the thermal conductivity of frozen foods, we need to make some assumptions and approximation about the structure of the food and the disposition of the various components. So you have seen in the previous course, that is engineering properties of foods, while estimating or measuring the thermal conductivity of food materials, we have assumed that the components are in parallel direction or in perpendicular direction, and sometimes we may have to avoid the internal pores present in the food materials. So those are the assumptions and approximations you have to make to measure the thermal conductivity of the food material. To look at these thermal conductivity values of water at 0 degree centigrade, if it is in liquid state it is 0.554, but if it is in solid state, that is ice, it is 2.25. If you further reduce the temperature, the thermal conductivity of the frozen foods will increase. So if you look at this change in thermal conductivity during freezing, so there is no change up to the initial freezing point. So here we are taking the same food material that we have used in the previous video lecture, whose freezing point is -1 degree centigrade, right? So up to this initial freezing point, there is no change in the thermal conductivity, but you can see here with same as enthalpy, there is exponential increase up to some extent. Then the increase in thermal conductivity is somewhat linear. So thermal conductivity in case of a parallel model, you can see thermal conductivity of individual component mass fraction of individual component divided by thermal conductivity of the individual component, and summation of all the components can give you the thermal conductivity of the food material. So this is parallel model. So there are other models also. Series model is there, Copeland model is there. So you can use suitable method based on the food material to predict or to estimate the thermal conductivity of the food materials or frozen foods. So thermal diffusivity is an derived property. So alpha is equals to K by rho Cp. We all know the thermal conductivity is alpha is equals to K by rho Cp. If you know thermal conductivity, density and specific heat from them you can easily calculate this alpha, that is the thermal diffusivity. So we have seen how to determine the specific heat in previous video lecture, and thermal conductivity in this lecture. Now if we know the density of the food material, we can easily calculate this thermal diffusivity. Density. So density is an important physical property of the material, which changes significantly during freezing. So there is a principle called 9 by 11 rule, which means if you freeze 9 ml of water, you will get 11 ml of ice. So that there means there is 2 ml increase in volume of the food material. So that means around 10%. So water expands about 10% on freezing, and thus with the increasing amount of ice formed below the initial freezing point, the food tends to expand as the temperature decreases, right? So if you keep on reducing the temperature, the water as more the water converted into ice, there is more increase in the volume. As 9 ml, it is 11 ml. If you froze 90 ml of water, you will get around 110 ml of ice. So there is significant increase in the volume, so that may cause decrease in the density. You know, density is mass by volume. Mass remains same during freezing, but the volume is increasing. So due to increase in this volume, the density will decreases continuously during freezing. Again, sometimes there is a problem because due to this increase in volume, the central thermal stresses and can lead to cracks in the food as the center freezes last. So we have defined the term in previous video lectures, that is the cold point, right? So cold point जहाँ पे temperature where the temperature removal is very low, or you can say the position where last freezing takes place, right? So because of the increase in volume of the other locations, or increase in volume of this center, so that may induce some cracks on the surface of the food material, right? The basic method for determining the or measuring the density is by simply determining the volume of the material and mass divided by volume, or by using picnometer we can measure the density of the solids and fluids. So gas picnometer is mostly used instrument in laboratories to measure the density of the food material, so that can be used to measure the density. Now if you look at the variations in density during freezing, the same food we have taken. So here up to initial freezing point there is no change in density. Density remains constant as the water is converted into ice. So the due to increase in volume, the density is decreased continuously, and up to some region where there is no further increase in volume, the density almost remains same even though there is decrease in temperature, right? So these are the various important thermophysical properties such as your uh, specific heat, thermal conductivity, enthalpy, thermal diffusivity, and density. There are other properties also which are helpful, such as volume of the food material, size, shape of the frozen food materials. So these things are covered in the previous course, that is engineering properties of food materials. So just we are giving an overview so that we can proceed further in the upcoming lectures. So in the upcoming lecture, we will discuss the innovations in freezing of food materials. Thank you.